Hello and welcome to Kind Party. So today I'll be talking about some three changes in the UAE Labour Law. As we all know, there are so many changes in the UAE Labour Law, the new Labour Law of 2022, and these changes have really gone a long way to affect the employee-employer relations in the country. And if you are an employee or someone who is planning to come to the UAE to look for a job, I think that you need to stay and watch this video up to the end so you can get some details and some points that you need to know. So today I'll focus just on three of the new changes, and in the subsequent videos I'll talk about more changes. So the three changes that I'll talk about today are keeping of your official documents, your probation period, and your end of employment notice period. So let's fight on. The first change that we'll talk about is your official documents. According to the new law, that's the law number 33 of 2021 that has come into repeal law number 8 of 1980. One of the most important articles talks about withholding your official documents. We all know that if you're in the UAE, we all know that, or in anywhere you go, you know that during your onboarding process, during the process whereby the company needs to bring you in, there are so many official documents that you need to give to the company. Some company will ask for your passports, which is necessary, and some other accompanying documents. And the law is actually coming in to assist employees, in the sense that your company does not have any right whatsoever to withhold your official documents. This is because in so many reasons, or in so many places, we realize that there are so many people suffering today, or they are scared of what will happen to their official documents because they are actually in the UAE, but they don't have access to their documents, or especially their passport, because so many companies are keeping their passport, which is not right, which is illegal. No matter how you look at it, it is illegal. Your passport is something that is an official document, and I think only your country of origin has the right, or only the issuing country has the right over that passport. So no one is supposed to keep your passport. However, we realize that not too many people like to take these cases to court because they are scared that their companies might retaliate and maybe find something else to fire them from the company. So at the end of the day, people just like to just relax and just let it be. But if you look at it, no matter how you look at it, you realize that this is illegal, and if you have a way of holding your documents, get your documents and keep them with you. And if you think that it is not safe or whatsoever, okay, you can give it back to your company, but it should be with your own consent, not against your will. So the new law clearly states your company or your employer does not have the right to withhold your official documents. The next important point regarding this new labor law that we are going to talk about is regarding probation. In the new law, the probation period is a little bit confusing. If you don't look at it critically, it is confusing because there are so many different spins around. And however, there is a fixed limit, a maximum limit for probation, which is 6 months, and meaning that if you are working in a company, your probation period should not be more than 6 months. It should not be more than 6 months. It can be less, but it should not be more than 6 months. So if you're working in any company, you have to be aware that during that 6 months period, if you feel asked to leave, or maybe you want to go back to your country, if you want to go back to your country, what will happen is that you need to give the company a 2 weeks notice or 1 month, depending on you. If you are going to your country, you can give a 2 weeks notice or 1 month notice. So if you give a 2 weeks notice and you leave, right? If you leave your country, if you leave the UAE and go back to your country, and maybe back in your country you change your mind and you want to come back within 3 months, if you come back to this country within 3 months, what will happen is that if you get any employment, that new company is supposed to compensate your old company. That is the law. The law states that if you leave during your probation period, you will not pay for any charges, any recruitment fee, or any visa fee to your employer, but you must go back to your country. If you go back to your country and you change your mind that you want to come back to the UAE, your new employer must pay compensation to your old employer. If you leave your country within a 3 month period and come back here, your new employer must pay compensation to your old employer. So that is the law. So if, for example, you don't want to go back to your country and you decide to leave during your probation period and stay in the UAE and to get a new job, so for that, in that case, you have to give a 1 month notice, not 2 weeks notice. If you are to change employers, you must give a 1 month notice, and after a 1 month notice, you can leave and join your new employer, but your new employer must also compensate your old employer for visa fees and any other costs. That is the law during probation. In case the employer wants to terminate you during the probation period, they can give you a 2 weeks notice before they can terminate you during the probation period. So what you have to understand is that you will not be liable for any fees, like visa fees or whatsoever. But you have to be aware that there are two things: either you are going to your country or you are staying. In any case, if you go back to your country and stay there more than 3 months, you are okay. But if you decide within 3 months to come back and you get a new job, your new company must pay your old company compensation. That is the case. If you still don't understand this, please leave a comment and I'll try to explain more. The next important point is regarding end of employment. That is, maybe after you finish your probation period in the company and you decide to leave the company, or you decide to leave the company after 7 months or within 1 year, or after 1 year or 2 years, or that period, maybe you decide to leave. So during that period, you have to give there's a notice period that you are supposed to serve, and that notice period is not supposed to be more than 3 months. The notice period is not supposed to be more than 3 months. So you can stay, you can talk with your employer and they can agree with 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, but it shouldn't be more than 3 months. And during that period of your notice, during your notice period, your salary is supposed to be paid in full. No one is supposed to cut your salary during that period. However, they have added 3 additional reasons why a company can terminate you during the course of your employment. One of these reasons is bankruptcy, when the company goes bankrupt. Another reason is if you don't meet the immigration requirements, like maybe they submitted documents and maybe your documents were faulty or something went wrong. So the company at that time, they can terminate you from the company. They can terminate you. And the next one is when the company is closing down. So if your company is totally closing all their operations and closing all their offices, they have the right at that time to terminate you. And during this period of your notice, the employee is entitled to 1 day each week, 1 day unpaid each week, to look for a new employment. So if you're an employee and you decide to resign from your company and they say you have to serve 1 month notice, during that 1 month period, you have to know that each week for that 1 month, you're supposed to take 1 day off during the week to go out and look for another job. It depends on you. If you want that, okay. If you don't want, you can continue working. But that 1 day that you take off, the 1 day will be unpaid. But you have the right to take any day to go and look for another job. So maybe you are lucky you can get a job before the 1 month even elapse. Maybe you can get a new job. So it is, you have 4 days apart from your off day. Apart from your off day, you have 4 different days that you can actually go and look for another job. So I think this is really important. It's really important. You see, there are some vital changes that have come in place, and from the 3 things that I talked about, your documents, no one is supposed to hold your document. Your probation period, you have to understand that clearly, and your end of employment, if you want to resign or when you are terminated. Those are the 3 changes that I've laid out, and there are so many different changes, and I want you to understand that at the end of this all, there are still deliberations going on with the Ministry of Human Resource and Emiratization, with all the other stakeholders. They are still deliberating on the implementation and the actual way all these new rules are going to be implemented, the process and everything. And after all this is done, there will be more details that will come in and that will support all these new rules and regulations. So till then, please stay tuned to Kind Party and please support the channel anytime, because we love you all and I'll continue to be here to provide you amazing information and entertainment. So thank you all, and thank you all those subscribing and liking. I really appreciate everything. Thank you.